Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game. Reclassify the trade. Warriors add 2022 AllStar in proposed deal for 4 players. The Golden State Warriors are on the cusp of significant changes this offseason, acutely aware that the 2023-24 season fell far below expectations. It's bound to be a whirlwind few months for the franchise, navigating the NBA draft, free agency, and exploring potential trades in hopes of reclaiming the top spot in the Western Conference. Atlanta Hawks guard DeJounte Murray emerges as a prime trade candidate for rival teams, including the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors face several clear challenges this offseason, starting with providing better support for Stephen Curry, on whom the franchise has leaned heavily in recent seasons. They also must decide on Chris Paul's support for Curry, with Paul holding an unguaranteed $30 million contract for the upcoming season. If Golden State parts ways with the 12-time All-Star as expected, who will they turn to as a non-Curry minutes leader? One way to address both issues could be to pursue DeJounte Murray, as the Atlanta Hawks are expected to split up their defensive duo of him and Trae Young. A Murray trade was heavily speculated before the midseason deadline and could be revisited in the coming months. Murray may not be the perfect choice, especially if Klay Thompson re-signs as a free agent. The 27-year-old may not top the Warriors' wish list, but he could prove valuable as a secondary scorer/creator alongside Curry and as a leader during the 15 to 18 minutes when the MVP is off the court. In a recent article dissecting successful trade scenarios, Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz proposed a trade sending Murray to the Bay Area. Let's delve into Swartz's suggested 4-player deal and assess whether both teams would agree to the move. Murray is about to embark on a 4-year, $114.1 million contract, adding more long-term money to a Warriors organization looking to dip under the luxury tax apron and perhaps even exit the luxury tax altogether. Nonetheless, let's examine the trade laid out by Swartz. Jonathan Kuminga is the major asset here, while Moses Moody still holds value, showing signs of evolving into a 3D rotation wing. Gary Payton too remains valuable to the Warriors but has been injury-prone in recent seasons, with the potentially unprotected first-round pick being a valuable asset if the Warriors fail to return to the postseason. Would the Atlanta Hawks make this trade? After averaging 18.7 points on 54.2% shooting from January 5 onwards, Kuminga is a developing talent most franchises would covet. However, among the 30 league teams, the Hawks might be the least interested. Atlanta already boasts a similarly athletic and rapidly evolving young forward in Jalen Johnson, along with Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu, forming a crowded frontcourt if Kuminga is added. Moody might get the chance to further showcase his talents, but there's no guarantee he surpasses DeAndre Hunter or Saddiq Bey upon returning from his anterior cruciate ligament injury. Payton would bring defensive presence to a team that ranked 27th this season, but how reliable will his health be in the future? While this is a reasonable deal for a player of Murray's stature, there's a legitimate chance the Hawks argue that any given Kuminga wouldn't be as valuable to them as to most other teams. If they did make the trade, they would need to commit long-term to Kuminga. Would they pay him and Johnson more out of the likely $100 million needed for eligible 4th-year player extensions? Probably not. Let's assume the Hawks were willing to proceed. Would the Warriors be prepared to part with this kind of package for Murray? Murray would undoubtedly bolster the Warriors after a season where he averaged a career-high 22.5 points along with 5.3 rebounds and 6.4 assists per game. He also shot a career-best 36.3% from 3 on 7.1 attempts per game, offering optimism about his potential as a shooting threat alongside Curry. Much of Golden State's assessment may boil down to whether they believe Murray can return to his top defensive form from his early years with the San Antonio Spurs. He's certainly young enough to think he can, although keeping Andrew Wiggins would lessen the need for Murray to be the NBA defender he once was. Giving up Kuminga would be a tough pill to swallow, perhaps one the Warriors couldn't stomach. Are we sure Murray is worth more in a trade than Kuminga, given the strides the 21-year-old has made in recent months? Murray might still be more valuable, but it's not such a large gap for the franchise to also give up an unprotected first-round pick. In summary, the Warriors reportedly have little interest in discussing Kuminga in a trade, and if they do, it would have to be for a genuine All-Star. Murray isn't quite that player, having been selected only once in 2022 as an injury replacement for Golden State's Draymond Green. It's unlikely Murray would push the Warriors to the top of the Western Conference, and as a result, the trade wouldn't be worth giving up Kuminga's enormous potential. Perhaps Golden State could offer Kevin Looney and another future first-round pick instead of Kuminga, but it's highly improbable from Atlanta's perspective. NBA Draft: Warriors aiming for history with insane lottery luck. The Golden State Warriors are poised to make NBA history or at least tie it on Sunday as the NBA Draft Lottery unfolds in Chicago at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Represented by last year's 19th overall pick Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors are set to relinquish their first-round selection to the Portland Trail Blazers following a 2019 trade. To keep their first-round pick in Sunday's draft lottery, the Golden State Warriors will need to defy NBA history. Their pick is protected within the top 4, meaning Golden State must move up 10 spots to retain the selection. They have a 96.6% chance of landing the 14th pick, leaving them with just a 3.4% chance of cracking the top 4. Should they miss out on the 14th pick, the Warriors automatically move into the top 4, with a 1% chance at the 4th pick, 0.9% at 3rd, 0.8% at 2nd, and 0.7% at 1st overall. Only 2 teams in lottery history have leaped 10 spots as the Warriors must do on Sunday. The Hornets moved from 13th to 3rd in 1999 to select Baron Davis, while the Magic vaulted from 11th to 1st in 1993 to pick Chris Webber, whom they later traded with the Warriors. While it's thrilling for Golden State to potentially make or tie history and land in the top 4, it might be wiser for them to concede the 14th pick as expected. If they do end up in the top 4, Golden State's 2025 first-round pick will go to the Trail Blazers unless it's the first overall selection. Forfeiting the 14th pick in what's deemed a weak draft could be better than risking losing a top 10, perhaps even a top 5 pick next year, even if the Warriors are aiming for a return to the playoffs next season. Golden State is doing its due diligence in case they do land in the top 4, having traveled to France last weekend to scout projected top 10 pick Zachary Rizicher in action for JL Borg. The Warriors' Steph Curry errad Kevin Durant's legacy, ESPN analyst Zach Lowe claims on Get Up, wondering if Kevin Durant signing with the Golden State Warriors was the worst thing to happen in his career. Despite winning 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs, KD may not have received the credit he deserved due to the team's dominance. Additionally, since leaving the Dubs in 2019, Kevin Durant hasn't advanced past the second round of the playoffs. His team suffered 2 first-round exits, including a recent loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he realized it, his people realized it, he feels it, and he's been a bit of a rebel ever since. I wonder if he went back to that moment and Golden State wasn't an option for him, if he could have charted his own path in a more sustainable way, Zach Lowe said. Unfortunately, Durant surrounded himself with imperfect co-stars and an awkward lineup. His current team, the Phoenix Suns, has limited flexibility to improve due to the over $150 million annually tied to the contracts of Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. Lowe's comments suggest that Durant's career could have taken a different path if he hadn't joined the Warriors, potentially leading to more sustainable success and recognition. Durant's ongoing playoff struggles raise questions about his legacy and ability to lead a team to championship success without a dominant team like the Warriors. Proposed Kevin Durant returned to the Golden State Warriors. There were rumors that the Golden State Warriors were interested in trading for Kevin Durant when he requested a trade while with the Brooklyn Nets, but the Phoenix Suns ended up acquiring him. However, a recent hypothetical trade scenario proposed by Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report suggests that the door may not be completely closed for a return to the Dubs. The hypothetical trade would send Durant back to the Warriors in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and 2 first-round picks, including the number 1 pick. While this scenario is unlikely, especially given the Warriors' slim chances of winning the lottery, the team could still inquire about Durant's availability this summer. However, it seems that the Suns have no intention of letting go of Durant anytime soon, making a reunion with the Warriors unlikely. Still, the idea of Durant returning to the team where he won 2 championships is intriguing and would certainly be a major development in the NBA offseason.